Good evening, friends. It is about 1:37 in the AM, and I am going to be checking out a movie I have not seen, Double Indemnity. This is another Billy Wilder film. Excuse me, the last one I did late night was Sunset Boulevard, so a nice follow-up for Mr. Wilder, who has quite a running resume, doesn't he? This one stars Fred MacMurray, Barbara Stanwyck, and I believe Edward G. Robinson. I looked this up very briefly when I was looking for the movie. Fred MacMurray, I actually know more from television. I had a TV in my room when I was a kid, rabbit ears. I was pretty awesome like that, and I kept it pretty much all the time when I was playing or goofing off in my room on the local UHF station all the time because it showed goofy movies that I liked, a lot of cartoons I liked, and a lot of classic television. And so I caught my three sons a lot of episodes of that when I was little, of course, starring Fred MacMurray. So I know him more from television than film. Excuse me. As far as Edward G. Robinson and Barbara Stanwyck, I'm not sure I've ever seen a film with any of them, which is kind of sad because they're quite prolific. Barbara Stanwyck nominated for several Oscars throughout her career, and am pretty sure she won an honorary Oscar. Please don't roast me too bad if I'm wrong about that, but I think she did get a lifetime honorary Oscar in the 70s or 80s. Towards the end of her life there, obviously. But this is a film noir. This is what I looked for. I was like, I'm going to check out a classic noir movie, and this one kind of popped up at the top of the list. I enjoy noir films. My favorite is probably Chinatown, the Roman Polanski film with Jack Nicholson, which I really, really like and have seen several times. So this is one I have not seen, so I'm really looking forward to it, so I'm going to jump into it here. I do want to thank the Patreon subscribers who are here with me. I'd like to give a special shout-out to Actuarial Lurker, Balaj Fuldez, Chris, Kawan Siddons, Derek Peterson, Jamie Morgan, Jeff, Christy Geverson, NJ, Suduguna Varapu, Torgir Lingstad, Weird Magic, and WearPanda47. Really glad you're here, guys. If you would like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else that we've watched or we're currently watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. On everything on Patreon, you will, of course, have to sync and watch along on your own source material. Due to copyright law, you will only see and hear me on this one. Our good friends at Paramount, you do good work. I do believe Edward G. Robinson was in the Ten Commandments. Also a film I have not seen. Okay, a lot of noirs are based on novels, so I'm assuming I've read... that's not fair. I've read L.A. Confidential, which I consider noir. Must have been a really popular literary genre. I like the construction there, kind of revealing some of the exposition. So we're in L.A., are we? Wow, is this movie just dark, or is it just this scene? Man, right out of the gate, like the tone is unmistakable here, isn't it?
Hello there, Mr. Neff.
I can't tell if he said Neff or Ness.
Wait enough.
Neff.
Let's ride.
He looks very injured.
You look kind of all in at that.
I'm fine.
How is the insurance business, Mr. Neff?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of exposition in this movie, and I like the way they're doling it out. Like, we don't have a voiceover, at least not yet. Nothing seems forced. Like a film where someone says to another person early, "You're my favorite brother, and I love you. Ever since Mom and Dad died, I feel like I've taken care of you." I was like, well, thank you, K-Plot. Okay, gunshot. All right. So we're getting a frame story with a flashback.
Los Angeles, July 16th, 1938. Suppose you'll call this a confession when you hear it.
This is set earlier than it was made, by 6 years.
I just want to set you right about something you couldn't see because it was smack up against your nose. But let's take a look at that Dietrichson claim. Accident and double indemnity.
Oh.
You said it was murder. It was perfect. Except it wasn't because you made one mistake.
I love how this is set
When
up.
it came to picking the killer, you picked the wrong guy. I killed Dietrichson. Me, Walter Neff. I killed him for money.
Man, what a way to
For a
set up a
woman.
frame story here.
I didn't get the woman.
In a lot of noir, I'm used to just a voiceover.
I'd been out to Glendale to deliver a policy on some dairy trucks.
So that's ultimately how this is going to
On
function
the
then,
way
okay.
back, I remembered this auto renewal near Los Feliz Boulevard.
If you're selling something.
Look, it's Mr. Dietrichson I want to talk to, and it's not magazine subscriptions.
Listen, Mr. Dietrichson is not in.
How do you do, Mr. Dietrichson? I'm Walter Nett, Pacific All Risk.
Is there anything I can do?
Insurance ran out on the 15th. I'd hate to think of you having a smashed fender or something while you're not fully covered.
No, nice.
If you wait till I put something on, I'll be right down.
Never noticed before how much she looks like Virginia Madsen.
On the piano in a couple of fancy frames were Mr. Dietrichson and Lola, his daughter by his first wife. I was thinking about that dame upstairs and the way she had looked at me.
Yeah, you were. Is this our femme fatale?
We've been handling this insurance for Mr. Dietrichson for 3 years, and we'd hate to see the policies lapse. I have a very attractive policy here. Wouldn't take me 2 minutes to put it in front of your husband.
You're a smart insurance man, aren't you, Mr. Neff?
Well, I've been at it 11 years.
Yeah, she's got something going on here.
You handle just automobile insurance or all kinds?
All kinds.
Accident insurance?
Accident insurance? Sure, Mr. Dietrichson. Wish you'd tell me what's engraved on that anklet.
Oh my God, man. She's got you hook, line, and sinker.
My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you?
I'm sort of getting over the idea, if you know what I mean.
There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff.
Yeah, no
45
kidding.
miles an hour.
That tears it. 8:30 tomorrow evening, then.
That's what I suggested.
Same chair, same perfume, same anklet.
I wonder if I know what you mean.
I wonder if you wonder.
Man, he's like the guys on Mad Men, just aggressively and unapologetically.
How could I have known that murder can sometimes smell like honeysuckle?
Okay, so she's going to want her husband killed, and she's going to use this idiot to do it.
Mr. Keyes wants to see you. He's been yelling for you all afternoon.
Come on, Gallopers. You're not kidding anybody with that line of bull. You're in the jam and you know it.
So he is an insurance investigator.
How are you, Mr. Galopus?
I ain't so good. My truck burned down.
Because my little man tells me. The little man in here. Every time one of these phonies comes along, he ties knots in my stomach. I can't eat. They found what was left of a neat pile of shavings. The ones you soak with kerosene and drop the match on. It's a waiver on your claim. Right here. Now you're an honest man again. Goodbye, Gallopers.
All right, so Keyes is good at his job.
Are we an insurance company or just a bunch of dim-witted amateurs to write a policy on a mug like that?
Now, wait a minute, Keys. I don't rate this beef.
Man, insurance has changed a lot.
Sell life insurance to a guy who sleeps in the same bed with 4 rattlesnakes.
You're so darn conscientious, you're driving yourself crazy. You wouldn't even say today's Tuesday unless you looked at the calendar.
Now get out of here before I throw my desk at you.
So he's kind of the foil for their plan a little bit.
I kind of always knew that behind the cigar ashes on your vest you had a heart as big as a house. Back in my office, there was a phone message from Mrs. Dietrichson about the renewals. She wanted me to come Thursday afternoon at 3:30 instead.
I bet she did.
But I kept thinking about Phyllis Dietrichson and the way that anklet of hers cut into her leg.
Had to remember there was a time when ankles were considered very erotic.
Neff?
Oh, look at the pose.
Aren't you coming
Nice.
in?
I'm considering it.
Nettie! Nettie! Oh, I forgot. Today's the maid's day off.
My God, man.
As long as it's a maid's day off, maybe there's something I can do for you. Like running the vacuum cleaner.
Mr. Neff,
Make it Walter, huh?
Walter,
That's right.
I was thinking about my husband. I worry a lot about him down in those oil fields. It's very dangerous.
I can see why he said I should have seen it coming, because this seems like telegraphed what she wants.
Don't you think he ought to have accident insurance?
Mm-hmm. And you rate around 50,000 capital sum?
Capital sum? What's that?
In case he gets killed.
There it is.
He has a lot on his mind. He doesn't seem to want to listen to anything except maybe a baseball game on the radio.
We're getting there, aren't we?
Only with me around, you wouldn't have to knit.
There you go.
Bet your life you wouldn't.
Could I get an accident policy for him without bothering him at all?
How's that
It
again?
would make it easier for you, too. You wouldn't even have to talk to him. If there was a way to get it like that, all the worry would be over.
Then if some dark, wet night that crown block did fall on him,
What crown block?
only sometimes it can't quite make it on its own. It has to have a little help.
There, okay, yeah, at least he's calling her out.
Look, baby, you can't get away with it. You want to knock him off, don't you? Boy, what a dope you must think I am.
I think you're rotten.
I'll get out of here, but quick.
Well, I'm glad he at least was a decent enough guy to call her out, but obviously he changes his mind somewhere. It's a great shot right there, isn't it? Tracking him away from her.
So I let her have it straight between the eyes. She didn't fool me for a minute, not this time.
Kind of curious what changes his mind here.
And right then it came over me that I hadn't walked out on anything at all. That the hook was too strong.
Oh my God, of course.
So at 8 o'clock, the bell would ring and I'd know who it was without even having to think.
Okay, I take back everything nice I said about him. He's an idiot.
You forgot your hat this afternoon.
She was not carrying a hat.
It's about time you said you were glad to see me.
I knew you wouldn't leave it like that.
You must never think anything like that about me, Walter.
Okay?
No, it's not okay. Not if you don't believe me.
She
I
moves
feel as
fast.
if he was watching me. Not that he cares, not anymore.
Yeah, that was inevitable. I've seen this happen to a guy I worked with. Not the murder thing, but all it started with is my husband doesn't care anymore, and it did not take long before they were together. Oh, look at the lighting in this shot. It's great. Just kind of framing their faces. One thing about noir, you can always find good use of light and shadow.
You know, about 6 months ago, a guy slipped on a cake of soap in his bathtub and knocked himself cold and was drowned. So they had an autopsy, and she didn't get away with it.
Who didn't?
His wife.
His wife.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit across the table and smile at him and that daughter of his every morning of your life.
You ever think of a divorce?
He wouldn't give me a divorce.
I suppose because it costs him too much money.
He hasn't got any money, not since he went into the oil business.
Okay, so he doesn't make enough money for her.
Even his life insurance all goes to that daughter of his.
Only sometimes you wish he was dead.
Perhaps I do.
And you wish it was an accident.
The other night we drove home from a party. He was drunk again. Just closed the garage doors and left him there.
I'll tell you
Wow.
what it'll be like. If you had that accident policy and try to pull a monoxide job, we've got a guy in our office named Keys. In a half hour, you'd be signing your name to a confession.
But Walter, I didn't do it, and I'm not going to do it.
Not if there's an insurance company in the picture, baby. Maybe she had stopped thinking about it, but I hadn't.
Okay, so he's the one that's actually kind of pushing her more towards it.
You know how it is, Keys. In this business, you can't sleep or try to figure out all the tricks they could pull on you. And you figure all you need is a plant out front. A shill to put down the bet.
So she's your shill?
The stakes were $50,000, but they were the life of a man, too. He was married to a woman he didn't care anything about.
Well, you're taking her word for that. Ah, the 40s afterglow, though you can't really show what happened. But we all know.
I can't stand it anymore. What if they did hang me?
They're not going to hang you because you're going to do it, and I'm going to help you.
You know what you're saying?
Sure, I know what I'm saying. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it right. It's got to be perfect.
I really love how this is written where the tables kind of turn. Like, early it seems like she's the one kind of pulling the strings, but now it's him.
This has got to be perfect, you understand? Straight down the line.
Straight down the line.
Man, a couple straight from hell.
The first thing we had to do was fix him up with that accident policy. So I had to get him to sign without his knowing what he was signing.
Just throw in with all the car stuff.
Other witness besides Phyllis to hear me give him a sales talk. Everything looked fine, except I didn't like the witness Phyllis had brought in. It was Dietrichson's daughter, Lola.
Well, you're about to kill her dad?
You are not covered by the State Compensation Insurance Act.
What keeps us broke is you going out and buying 5 hats at a crack. Who needs a hat in California?
Okay, so she might not have been lying about this guy.
Tough day.
Just as you say.
Suppose we just settle that automobile insurance tonight.
Father, is it all right if I run along now?
Run along where? Who with?
Just Ann. We're going roller skating.
You better not be that Sacchetti guy. If I ever catch you with that...
It's Ann Matthews, I told you, and I also told you we're going roller skating.
Now, if you'll just sign these, Mr. Dietrichson.
Sign what?
The applications for the auto renewals. There's one is the agent's copy. I need it for my files.
Files, duplicates, triplicates.
Accident insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Dietrichson. Don't worry about the check. I can pick it up at your office some morning.
A failing oil man in America. Who would have thought it was possible?
Well, listen, that trip to Palo Alto, when does he leave?
End of the month.
He drives, huh?
He always drives.
Not this time. You're going to make him take the train. There's a clause in every accident policy, a little thing called double indemnity. That means they pay double on certain accidents. The kind that almost never happen. Like, for instance, if a guy is killed on the train.
Is that still a thing? I'd never heard of this before.
It'll be the train, Walter, just the way you want it. Straight down the line.
I was wondering why he said it was $50,000 at the beginning. Well, the answer is because I thought they'd split it. Well, this is how.
Well, I thought you could let me ride with you if you're going my way.
Be glad to, Miss Dietrichson.
My father doesn't understand me, and Phyllis hates me.
You mean it's not Vermont and Franklin?
It's Vermont and Franklin, all right.
It's
Only
a
it's not Ann
boyfriend.
Matthews. It's Nino Zacchetti. Got behind in his credits, flunked out. Then he lost his job for talking back.
This is becoming a complication. Is Nino the reason for the bullet?
Over here, Nino.
Oh, yes, he looks rough in his suit and tie. I know, different times.
This is Mr. Neff, Nino.
Hello, Nino.
The name is Zacchetti. All right, Lola, make up your mind. Are you coming or aren't you?
Of course I'm coming.
She was a nice kid. Maybe he was a little better than he sounded. You know that big market up in Los Feliz Keys? That's the place Phyllis and I had picked for a meeting place. We couldn't let anybody see us together.
This seems more conspicuous than just like sitting in a restaurant talking.
So she was to be in the market every morning about 11 o'clock buying stuff. It's all set. The accident policy came through. I've got it in my pocket. But you have to send a check for the auto insurance, see?
I was going to say, you better get both.
Can you get in the safe deposit box?
Yes, we both have keys.
Fine. But don't put the policy in there yet. I'll tell you when.
I've been trying to tell you the trip is off.
What happened?
He had a fall down at the well, broke his leg. It's in a cast.
Broke his leg.
What do we do now, Walter?
Nothing. Look, we're not going to grab a hammer and do it quick just to get it over with.
There are other ways.
We're not going to do it other ways.
It's so tough without you. It's like a wall between us.
I say there's about a 12% chance that she's actually romantically interested in him and he's not just a sap in the insurance business. Yeah, that look.
I kept telling myself that maybe those fates they say watch over you had gotten together and broken his leg to give me a way out. How'd you like a cheap drink?
How would you like a $50 cut in salary? I've got to have an assistant, and I thought of you.
Me? Why pick on me?
Well, because I've got a crazy idea you might be good at the job. You're too good to be a salesman.
Nobody's too good to be a salesman.
Now, look,
Yeah.
the job I'm talking about takes brains and integrity.
And a big pay cut.
To me, a claims man is a surgeon. A claims man is a doctor and a bloodhound and a cop and a judge and a jury and a father confessor all in one. And you want to tell me you're not interested?
Listen, he's going tonight on the train.
Oh, tonight. Wow, this is quick.
He's on crutches. The doctor says he can go if he's careful. The change will do him good. It's the 10:15 from Glendale. I'm driving him.
What color did you pick?
Blue, navy blue. And the cast is on his left leg.
Why does the broken leg make it better?
I picked you for the job not because I think you're so darn smart, but because I thought you were a shade less dumb than the rest of the outfit. You're not smarter, Walter. You're just a little taller.
I have no idea what the plan is with the train, but if it's like a fake mugging or something, I don't know if accident insurance would cover that. Was he got to fall off the train?
I wanted my movements accounted for up to the last possible moment. So when I left the office, I put my rate book on the desk as if I had forgotten it. How about giving the Hebo wash job?
How soon you gonna want it? I got a couple of cars ahead of you.
Anytime you get to it, Charlie. I'm staying in tonight.
Okay, smart.
I changed into a navy blue suit like Dietrichson was going to wear. I stuffed a hand towel and a roll of adhesive into my pocket so I could fake something that looked like a cast on a broken leg.
So he's going to take his place in a way?
I walked all the way from my apartment to the Dietrichson house. I slid the garage door open as quietly as I could. I got into the back of the car. I
Wow.
lay there on the floor and waited.
That seems risky.
All right, honey.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'll have the car out in a second.
Well, you got to give him credit for an elaborate plan, but I feel like hiding in their car is risky. If it were me, I'd be throwing my crutches into the back seat right on top of him. Nope, he's keeping them with him. That's a good shot.
Makes you feel pretty good to get away from me, doesn't it?
It's only for 4 days. I'll be back Monday at the latest.
Okay, I'm going to go on a limb here and say the story she told him about the state of her marriage is 100% true.
Why did you turn here? What are you doing that for?
Oh. She looks vicious right there. She very much enjoyed that. Oh, so he takes his place? Interesting choice not to show the murder at all, just focus on her enjoyment of it.
When you get to the refinery, turn off the highway onto the dirt road. From there, it's exactly 8/10 of a mile to the dump beside the tracks. Remember.
I remember everything.
I'll be back on the observation platform. I'll drop off as close to the spot as I can.
Does it matter that they look nothing alike?
Car 9, Section 11. Section 11, sir.
I guess he's trying to hide his face.
Good luck, honey.
Okay, so I feel like this only works if, like, in what it sounded like their conversation, if she takes the body to the train tracks and dumps it on the train tracks and makes it look like he jumped or fell off the train. I guess you got to chuck the crutches out with him. Of course, he's been strangled. It's going to look a lot different. Coroners, I think, would pick up on that.
Like a chair?
No thanks.
My name's Jackson. I'm going all the way to Medford, Oregon.
Uh-huh.
I had a broken arm once.
He's got to jump off the train to make this work.
My cigar case. I guess I left it in my overcoat back in the section. Maybe the porter could...
Well, I could get your cigars for you. Be glad to, Mr. Dietrichson.
Well, it's not too much trouble.
Okay, that was clever to get him out of there. He needed to be alone back here to make it work. Yep. Yep, so now you got to dump the body there.
Okay, this has got to be fast. Here, take his hat. Pick up the crutches back in the tracks.
Yeah.
Okay, baby, that's it.
I mean, I guess it's a good plan if you're in the middle of nowhere and you can't run the risk of anybody seeing the car. Okay, that's good. That would have destroyed everything.
On the way back, we went over once more what she was to do at the inquest, if they had one.
It's actually a good plan.
She dropped me a block from my apartment house.
It's straight down the line, isn't it?
So where does it all go wrong?
I love you, baby.
I suppose she could just try to keep all the money.
Then I changed my clothes again. That left one last thing to do. I had to go down to the garage.
Yeah, you got to be seen back.
You're gonna use your car after all? I'm not quite through.
Oh, well, that's all right, Charlie. Nothing had slipped. Nothing had been overlooked. There was nothing to give us away.
Yeah, there's going to be something.
Suddenly it came over me that everything would go wrong. It sounds crazy, Keys, but it's true, so help me.
Yeah, he did choke a guy to death pretty casually.
They started talking about it at the office. And the day after that, when you started digging into it.
I think the timing of the insurance policy makes it look suspicious.
I could feel my nerves pulling me to pieces.
Like the telltale heart here.
Anything wrong?
Oh, the guy is dead. We had him assured and it's going to cost us dough. That's always wrong. Died of a broken neck.
Okay.
The inquest.
Had it this morning. His wife and daughter made the identification. Verdict, accidental death.
Okay.
He got tangled up in his crutches and fell off the train. Dietrichson wanted a cigar, and so Jackson went back to get Dietrichson's cigar case for him. When he returned to the observation platform, no Dietrichson. Dietrichson's secretary says she didn't know anything about the policy. There's a daughter, but all she remembers is Neff talking to her father about accident insurance at their house one night.
He signed the application and gave me his check.
A fine piece of salesmanship that was, Mr. Neff.
Well, there's no sense in pushing Neff around. He's got the best sales record in the office.
I think I know. In fact, I know what happened to Dietrichson.
You know what?
I know it was not an accident.
He thinks he did it on purpose.
There's a widespread feeling that just because a man has a large office, he must be an idiot. Have it listed, if you don't mind.
Try to stay cash.
Your husband had an accident policy with this company. Evidently, you don't know that, Miss Dietrichson.
No, I remember some talk at the house, but he didn't seem to want it.
We have the report of the coroner's inquest. Accidental death. We're not entirely satisfied. In fact, we're not satisfied at all.
Does he have a reason, or is it the money?
Had your husband been depressed or moody lately, Miss Dietrichson?
He was perfectly all right, and I don't know of any financial worries.
He hobbles all the way out to the observation platform. Once there, he finds he's not alone. There's a man there. So he gets rid of this Jackson with some flimsy excuse about cigars. And then he's alone.
She could go off on him and walk out on a "how dare you."
In which case the company is not liable. What I want to suggest is a compromise on both sides. A settlement for a certain sum, a part of the policy value.
Don't bother, Mr. Norton. I don't
Yeah.
like your insinuations about my husband, and I don't like your methods. In fact, I don't like you, Mr. Norton.
Yeah, that was a bluff.
Come now, you've never read an actuarial table in your life, have you? By poisons, by firearms, by drowning, by leaks. By poison, subdivided by types of poison, such as corrosive, irritant, systemic, gaseous, narcotic.
This is fascinating.
Under the wheels of trains, under the wheels of trucks, under the feet of horses, from steamboats. Now, how can anybody jump off a slow-moving train like that with any kind of expectation that he would kill himself?
That's actually a really good answer.
Next time, I'll rent a tuxedo.
That's a great scene. Yeah, I don't know how he's expecting to. He's saying we can sue and prove it, but
You were the only one we were really scared of. And instead, you were almost playing on our team. That $100,000 looked as safe for Phyllis and me as if we had the check already deposited in the bank. Oh, hello, baby. Sure, everything's fine.
Can I come up?
Okay, but be careful. Don't let anybody see you.
oh, here we go. She could show up here.
That broken leg. The guy had a broken leg. He had accident insurance, didn't he?
Yeah.
Then he broke his leg, didn't he?
So what?
And he didn't put in a claim.
Oh, how did I miss that?
Maybe he just didn't have time.
Maybe he just didn't know that he was insured. No, that couldn't be it. You delivered the policy to him personally, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got his check.
Sure I did.
A guy takes out an accident policy that's worth $100,000 if he's killed on the train. And 2 weeks later, he is killed on the train. Something has been worked on us.
I was wondering if she's going to show up too soon here.
Myself, but I always tend to suspect the beneficiary. I don't claim to know how it was worked or who worked it, but all I know is that it was worked. See you at the office in the morning.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Norton and his stripe pants ideas about company policy. And one of those things.
This is a really great shot too.
Good night, Keys.
And now the wheels start spinning off.
They can't prove anything, can he?
Not if we're careful. Not if we don't see each other for a while. He'll investigate you. He'll have you shadowed. He'll watch every minute from now on.
We did it so we could be together, but instead of that, it's pulling us apart, isn't it, Walter?
What are you talking about?
And you don't really care whether we see each other or not.
Shut up, baby.
That's not reassuring at all.
Is there something about what happened?
Yes, Mr. Neff.
Is she going to say she suspects her stepmother? Yeah.
But I have the awful feeling that something's wrong. And I had that same feeling once before.
When your mother died?
We were at Lake Arrowhead. My mother was very sick with pneumonia. She had a nurse with her. One night I got up and went into my mother's room. All the bed covers were on the floor and the windows were wide open.
Oh my God.
I ran and covered my mother up as quickly as I could. Just then I heard the door open behind me.
So she killed her mom too.
2 days later, my mother was dead. Do you know who that nurse was?
No, who?
Phyllis. 6 months later, she married him, and
Your father fell off a train.
she was in a room in front of a mirror with a black hat on and pinning her black veil to it, as if she couldn't wait to see how she would look in more.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
She did it for the money. Only you're not going to pay her, are you, Mr. Neff? She is not going to get away with it this time, because I'm going to speak up.
I love how this is going because there's so many angles where it's falling apart that it's not a predictable finish on how he catches a bullet.
Who else have you told?
No one.
And you haven't told that boyfriend of yours, Sicchetti?
I'm not seeing him anymore.
Oh, I assumed that they lived together.
So that evening I took her to dinner at a Mexican restaurant down on Olvera Street where nobody would see us. I wanted to cheer her up. I had to make sure that she wouldn't tell that stuff about Phyllis to anybody else. Outside your door was the last guy in the world I wanted to see.
Oh, was that the guy that got the cigarette case on the train? He didn't see his face, but they talked.
Walter, I'm a very great man.
Yeah?
This Dietrichson business. It's murder. I think Papa has it all figured out. That guy Dietrichson was never on the train. The only way you can be sure is to kill him first, and then throw his body on the tracks. You kill him somewhere else and put him on the tracks. They killed the guy, the wife, and somebody else. And somebody else touches went on the train as Dietrichson. The only guy who really got a good look at this supposed Dietrichson is sitting right outside my office. I took the trouble to bring him down here from Oregon.
You heard the voice.
Are these photographs of the late Mr. Dietrichson?
Yes?
Then my answer is no. I mean, this is not the man that was on the train. Well, I'm pretty sure he was a younger man. About 10 or 15 years younger than the man in these photographs.
We may need you again down here in Los Angeles if the case comes to court.
Anytime you need me, I'm entirely at your disposal, gentlemen. Expenses paid, of course.
Oh, yes, yes. Listen, I'm sending a man named Jackson down to you with...
Covering his face.
Ever been in Oregon, Mr. Neff?
Yeah, coming right down.
No, I've never been up there.
I would say yes.
Murder's never perfect. Always comes apart sooner or later. And when two people are involved, it's usually sooner. Pretty soon we'll know who that somebody else is. He'll show. He's got to show. They may think it's twice as safe because there are two of them. But it isn't twice as safe. It's 10 times twice as dangerous. They're stuck with each other, and they've got to ride all the way to the end of the line, and it's a one-way trip, and the last stop is the cemetery.
Hello, Walter.
Come over here. Keys is rejecting your claim. He's sitting back with his mouth watering, waiting for you to sue. He's figured out how it was worked. He knows it was somebody else on the train, and he's dug up a witness he thinks can prove it.
Prove it how? If he rejects that claim, I have to sue. Lola's been telling you some of her cockeyed stories. She's been seeing you.
I've been seeing her, if you want to know. All I'm telling you is we're not going to sue.
It's because of Lola, what you did to her father. You're afraid she might find out someday. You can't take it, can you?
I said leave her out of this.
Are we going to start compounding this with other murders? They're not great at looking casual.
I loved you, Walter, and I hated him. But I wasn't going to do anything about it, not until I met you. We went into this together, and we're coming out at the end together. It's straight down the line for both of us.
Now they're turning on each other already.
And then I got to thinking what cemeteries are for. I guess that was the first time I ever thought about Phyllis that way.
Oh, so she's probably the one who shoots him.
I saw Lola 3 or 4 times that week. One night we went up into the hills behind the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, that's a really cool shot. Look at the amphitheater. I mean, it's probably a screen, but it looks good.
It's about Nino. They killed my father together. He and Phyllis. He helped her do it. I know he did.
Okay, I was wondering how Nino worked into this.
I've been following him. He's been to her house night after night. And the night of the murder, he was supposed to pick me up after a lecture at UCLA. But he never showed up.
Is Phyllis trying to use Nino to get to Neff?
What was he doing up at her house? I couldn't figure that one out.
That Dietrichson case just busted wide open. Well, the guy showed, that's how.
What guy?
The guy who helped her do it.
Maybe you were playing cat and mouse with me. Maybe you knew all along I was the somebody else.
I don't think he suspects him, but he might just be that good.
With regard to your proposal to put Walter Neff under surveillance, I disagree absolutely. I have known Neff intimately for 11 years, and I personally vouch for him without reservation. This man has been observed to visit Mrs. Dietrichson on the nights of July 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Nino Zacchetti, former medical student, age of 28. We already have sufficient evidence against Zacchetti and Mrs. Dietrichson to justify police action.
Okay, this explains how bullets start flying then. Everybody's in a race to double-cross each other here. This is detention really well done.
Phyllis? Walter. I've got to see you tonight. Just leave the front door unlocked and put the lights out.
So he absolutely has to kill her now to ensure that he gets away with it.
I don't have to tell you what I intended to do at 11 o'clock, Keys.
Yeah.
What I didn't know was that she had plans of her own.
I feel like she's the one with the gun. There's that wonderful noir lighting that kind of started the movie. I love it. Is this supposed to look like a self-defense thing?
In here, Walter.
Hello, baby. Just like the first time I came here, isn't it? We were talking about automobile insurance. I just came to say goodbye.
Goodbye?
You're the one that's going, baby, not me. I'm getting off the trolley car right at this corner. A friend of mine's got a funny theory. He says when two people commit a murder, it's sort of like they're riding on a trolley car together. I've got another guy to finish my ride for me.
Who are you talking about?
Mr. Zacchetti. Come on, baby. I just got into this thing because I happen to know a little something about insurance, didn't I? It's been you and that Zacchetti guy all along, hasn't it?
That's not true.
The point is, Keys believes Zacchetti is the one he's been looking for.
Eh, poor kid.
What do you think's going to happen to you? You helped him do the murder, didn't you?
Maybe I'd rather talk.
Sometimes people are where they can't talk. Under 6 feet of dirt, maybe. Because he's coming here tonight in about 15 minutes. With the cops right behind him.
I kept hammering into him that she was with another man, so I'd go into one of his jealous rages, and then I'd tell him where she was.
And for once I believe you, because it's just rotten enough.
We're both rotten.
Yes, thank you. You are both terrible people.
I don't like that music anymore. Mind if I close the window?
You've given her way too much time to get the gun out. I thought he had a chance of choking her right behind, and yeah.
Better try it again. Maybe if I came a little closer. How's this? Think you can do it now?
I'm really surprised she didn't, honestly.
Don't tell me it's because you've been in love with me all this time.
Oh.
I never loved you, Walter, not you or anybody else. Until a minute ago. When I couldn't fire that second shot.
Sorry, baby, I'm not buying.
I'm not asking you to buy. Just hold me close.
He's still gonna kill her.
Goodbye, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so poor Nino had nothing to do with anything.
Zucchetti,
Just leave, man.
want to give you a present. Here's a nice new nickel. Suppose you go on back down the hill to the drugstore and make a phone call. Ask for Miss Dietrichson. First name is Lola. Lola's in love with you. She always has been.
This is a nice gesture.
I couldn't even guess. Go on, that way.
Very last second conscience.
I wonder if she's still lying alone up there in that house. I want you to be the one to tell Lola. Kind of gently before it breaks wide open.
Yeah. That's not going to be great.
Hello, Keys.
Seems you leaked a little blood on the way in here.
Yeah. How long you been standing there?
Long enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to call for a doctor.
What for? So I can walk into that gas chamber up at San Quentin on my own power?
Yep.
Is that it, Keys?
Something like that.
Suppose you went back to bed and didn't find these cylinders till tomorrow morning when the office opens.
Oh, man.
Then you can play it any way you like. I need 4 hours to get where I'm going.
You're not going anywhere, Walter.
Yeah.
I'm going across the border.
You haven't got a chance, Walter.
Good enough to try for.
You'll never make the border.
The cops are out there already? Or is he just in that bad a shape? Yeah.
Send an ambulance to the Pacific Building on Olive Street.
I mean, you don't feel bad for the guy. God, this is shot really well.
Somebody moved the elevator a couple of miles away.
They're on the way.
You know why you couldn't figure this one, Keys? I'll tell you.
Got a big heart.
The guy you were looking for was too close.
Closer than that, Walter.
I love you, too.
Nice. Okay, double indemnity. One of the things I really like about noir is usually how the really tight the plots are as far as structure. There's not a lot of holes there. Everything the details are really strong, and nothing's really taking a chance as far as the structure of the story. I felt like this one had, besides obviously really strong performances, especially from Barbara Stanwyck. She was great in this. But I feel, and Robinson was really, really solid too. But I really feel like the crime setup and execution was very plausible. It was very believable. It was really perfectly executed. You get through with it, and it seems plausible that they could have completely gotten away with that. And then on the flip side, the way everything unraveled, equally believable. I feel like this is really, besides being a lot of fun and a really tightly plotted noir film, really kind of a cautionary tale, right? No, the perfect murder is still not perfect, and this was done so well on that. I mean, obviously there were holes. The one for me during the execution was holes in the plan, not holes in the movie. Was the fact that, and I believe I said this, the fact that the two men didn't look anything alike. I thought that that was his one of the bigger problems. Is if anybody did get a good look, no one's going to buy that he was the victim, which is ultimately what ended up happening with the guy on the observation deck of the train from Oregon. So I did think the way things unraveled was actually really well done. Obviously, noir and sharp dialogue go hand in hand, which is absolutely the case. I like the fact that our protagonist, I mean, it's not new that our protagonist was the bad guy, but it's always a lot of fun in a story. Like, this is kind of like, I feel like Breaking Bad is kind of a drawn out version of this story. When you have a guy that is just a normal guy, and you kind of see where the wheels start coming off for him, right where he gets in his own head, and then like it's not the greed necessarily. I mean, he wants the money, but I don't feel like the money is really the driving force. It kind of felt like for him the idea of getting away with it. Right, that the monologue about how working in the job and seeing the mistakes everyone else made, he saw, started planning out, well, here's how I could do it, and then got his opportunity. Because he said it was for the money and the girl. He didn't get either the money or the girl, but it didn't really feel like at any point he was desperate for either one. They would have been nice. He liked the girl. He liked the idea of the money. But man, that is a massive, planet-sized risk to take over those two things when he didn't really seem to be overly motivated by him. It's just really, really well-written character work there. The same thing with Phyllis. Like I said, I was skeptical of her story because anytime, a guy's or a character is being talked into doing a bad thing by another person, he's just taking in faith what they're saying. This person he just met, I was skeptical. It seems like she was being pretty sincere. She just did not like being married to her husband. So by the time the murder happened, there's a skosh of a soupçon of sympathy for her, and just that she was in a bad marriage. Not that there's real sympathy for her for killing the guy. You made your bed, go to Reno and get divorced. Don Draper did it, but once you start realizing that the stuff comes in about how she probably killed the mother, was willing to kill everybody else to get away with it, that victim mentality kind of goes away, and you realize, you've been played. I can't believe how long it took him to figure out he'd been played by somebody who was just a bad person. He seemed to start out there, but then of course we're getting the movie told in flashback, so there's that understanding that, well, obviously even with him leaving and saying I'm not an idiot, I'm not doing the murder for you, clearly something happened where things are going to go off the rails. He starts the movie off with a bullet hole in a confession, which I liked. Sometimes things are a little bit spoilery for me. That I wish that this kind of frame device wasn't used. Billy Wilder's early work that I already watched, Sunset Boulevard, I feel like I would have preferred. I love the movie. It's a great movie. It's well done. I'll watch it again. But I feel like the one thing for me that I would have liked is if we didn't know at the beginning of the movie that. Sorry if I'm spoiling anything, but I just watched this on the channel. That Joe's, we know Joe's fate when the story starts, and I kind of wish we did. And I kind of would have liked, the idea of where we were going with it. This I didn't mind. I feel like this was important for the setup, more so. Because it kind of really kind of set up like, well, here's this guy, here's everything that went wrong for me, here's how I went off the rails, now let's go back and let me tell you how I did it, or how it happened. So it's a really good hook for the story. I'm sure the novel's set up the same way, not that I would know. But otherwise, really fantastic movie. Like most noirs that I love, it's shot really well. Black and white works so great for these kind of films. I almost feel like if you're going to shoot a noir movie in 2025, do it in black and white. The use of light and shadow really, really plays with the tone of the story and really sets the mood so well. Kind of wondering if anybody still shoots noir in black and white. It wouldn't surprise me. But Chinatown, again, my favorite noir, is completely in color, and it's in LA, and it's very bright. So it kind of turns some of those conventions on its head in a way that really works for it. But this kind of falling in more what you expect from a noir structure and look and aesthetic, it still worked really well because this was exceptionally well done. Man. Got to give kudos to a writer who sat down and came up with a perfect murder scheme and a perfect way to foil it. Just really, really well executed all the way around. Billy Wilder is a master with the camera in terms of visual storytelling. There was a lot of use of foreground and background shots that really kind of, that distance between the two that really kind of tonally set up, I guess, tension would be, for lack of a better word, throughout the story. Items or characters being focused on, while others kind of from the background come into the foreground, so you can kind of see the impending conflict coming. Just really, really well done. This movie was a lot of fun. Kudos to the cast. I need to check out Billy Wilder's filmography, because I think without knowing, for sure these two films, I'm not sure if I've seen other Billy Wilder movies, but obviously a really, really great eye for storytelling. Appreciate you guys. I will catch you on the next one. It is now 3:35 in the morning. I'm going to try to sleep.